Okay, Justin just left. Justin and Matt just left. They were great stuffing all this paper, and they ended up getting pretty much all the way to the back. So I think they may do, I'm not sure if they can do any more of this or if it's time to paint. Jerry rigging with drop panels. I've got 3 of them now. So I took the insert out of one that I'm actually lending to Justin this year, but it's already painted, and I gave him this one that I already built and that he can paint up, because mine, which is in the house right there, is already painted up. Now I have 2 drop panels this year. I'm not going through any effort to make the image that's on the drop panel different from what it's been before, because the first drop panel, although I'm sure it's going to scare 95% of the people, it is a decoy for the people who really know the haunt well, who've been coming every year and are expecting the drop panel. I'm going to get them early on in the haunt with that. Same picture as always has been hanging in it, and hopefully they think that scare's already gone by and that's not going to happen to them again. I've got this little box, this box done just out of 2x2's fence board, and I used 2x3 up at those vertical pieces so I could get 2 screws in to make it a little more stable. But I mean, this thing's rock solid now. So there's going to be a prop standing in there, the Maker character. I'm not making someone wear that awful mask. Those gas masks are so uncomfortable. So this year I'm not making someone wear it, but the Maker will become a prop. And I'm going to put LEDs behind the eyes. So I've got some steel wool and vinegar aging up in a bucket right now. I will dilute that in about 24 hours and then age this up. But before I do that, I'll probably take a chain and a knife and stuff to this to damage up that wood so it's not so pristine. So I have this projector scene in the haunt this year. In the first room there's going to be a movie playing, and I have one of those little Pico projectors, but it needs to look like it's actually coming from a real projector. So I took this, it's like a box that you get at Tim Hortons when you're trying to, like, you're getting coffee for a bunch of people on a job site or something, and there's like a bag in there. Anyway, who cares what kind of box it is? It's a box. Basically removed the back half of it and replaced it with plywood so it can support this film reel that I had. So I used sort of like a tube, cardboard tube that was used for a poster. I have some bits of foam wrapped around the projector nozzle. That's one of those stands you use for PVC pipe to stick into, to screw into a wood base or something. And just various gack, wire nuts, things like that. I have 2 bolts at the back that are going to tie together. And you can see how I glued in the tube in there. And basically I've just quickly put, since a lot of these elements are plastic, I put some Krylon Fusion paint on here. And then I'm going to use leak seal, because I used a lot of tape to tape up this box, duct tape and stuff. And there's, you know, little cardboardy things going on. So, you know, hopefully the leak seal is going to knock down a lot of that texture. So there we go, my little projector. Lots of gack, all these different little doodads. And then to prevent light from escaping here, I've just glued foam around the edge, and then also up here, this piece is not glued down yet, but so light won't be coming out through the seams. It'll just be coming out through the front. Alright, so this attached to this little bracket, it's going to take the weight. Just show some really light plywood there, and then the rest is going to be built up with boxes to go up this panel, and that's the insert that goes into there. So the support shelf that I built, I made sure there's at least, like, you know, whatever, an inch or 2 on either side of this. Yeah. Because I'm talking to the video, Justin, not to you. Because when this comes up, gets pulled back up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit a piece of cardboard over that fits exactly in this hole. And I've described this before, but the idea is that when the panel gets pulled back up, if this wood came right to here, then if a kid had their finger in there, it could take their finger off or something. So if I just have a sort of flexible cardboard in there,
it'd still be that kid's fault. Like survival of the fittest, man. You know, you gotta lose your finger, learn a lesson sometimes. I'm done. Thank you.
is that all?
That's all.
We'll go back to our discussion.
What's going on, Matt?
Oh, you know, just building a mine shaft.
Building a mine shaft? That's interesting.
This sounds vaguely familiar, like a Brad Goodspeed video.
Well, this is what we're doing in absence of Brad today, as he's up north at the cottage for Thanksgiving, we have framed up this area where Matt is standing right now, which is going to be kind of our mine shaft. Yes, reprising the role of me is Matt, and reprising the role of Brad Goodspeed is me. This is pretty much the area that we're doing today. This area right here, it's the mine shaft. So you come in there, you come around here, and then you leave through this area. Right here we have a drop panel, and in that space we're going to have kind of like a skeleton prop, sort of like a distraction, just to, you know, grab people's attention so that it's easy to scare them with the drop panel. Matt's leaning on this wall right now, as you can see. So what we're doing to make this look like a mine shaft is using some of these timbers that we removed from the side of Brad's house when we rebuilt his stairs. So they're nicely aged and rotted and really have that right look that we're going for. It's about 6:30 and we're about to wrap things up here at the Red Scare for the day. But here's our progress on our mine shaft that we did. So you're going to come through here after you leave our catacombs, and you're going to come through, and it's pretty tight in here. It's like, 30 inches is pretty much how we're planning it. So you come around this corner here, right, and it's going to be fairly bright like it is now because that light up there is shining right at us, and there's going to be our drop panel right here, and we've got a plan to cleverly disguise it. Hopefully it works. We're just going to put these boards on that wall and have little tidbits poking around that drop panel opening, and burlap that we've got around the ceiling here is going to be draping down on some of the walls, like over here, wherever, draping down over top of the drop panel.
Hey Sue, where are we?
The Scream Shack in Coldwater.
That's right, that's my lovely bride, and my lovely brother is over there, and we're getting ready to scare at Colin Laughlin's Scream Shack. You guys know Colin from Facebook, and I'm trying to get rid of some of this giant mountain of Halloween stress that's on my shoulders right now. We're doing a night of scaring. We're going to be here tonight and next week, and I've just hobbled together parts of different costumes to quickly get ready to scare. So my wife and I were just walking through through Colin's haunt, getting ready, and she got bad. Oh, this guy. Oh, Jesus, she said. And what'd you say afterwards?
I don't like going through haunted houses.
I don't like going through haunted houses. Someone who's been scare acting for years. So, I don't know how comfortable Colin would be with me taping parts of his haunt, especially not lit. But I'm just going to use this opportunity to tell you that my buddy Colin is an artist. He's so good at set design. He's a humble dude too, so he wouldn't say this, so I'm saying it. Just deal with it, Colin. This is his new zombie trail, and he put a lot of work into this trail this year, I can tell. It's wow. I'm super excited about tonight and tomorrow and about the season he's going to have, because man, this trail looks great. If you can come to Scream Shack this October, you got to do it. Coldwater, Ontario, about an hour north of Toronto. Don't miss this stuff, man. This is awesome. Getting ready to scare. Customers will be coming through pretty soon, and I'm super excited. We haven't even gotten a single scare yet, and I'm already like feeling that feeling I get at Halloween, which reminds me why we do all this bullshit. Just excited to scare some people. My wife's wearing, this is that mask I made earlier this year. I brought one of them to MHC. This is one of the extra pores that I never really painted. But she found it comfy, so she's wearing it.
Trying to make it work.
And oh, does she look hot. Babe, you want to sneak off into the woods for a little bit before we get going? I love how you're wearing your fucking diamond wedding ring or engagement ring with your... Try and
gloves.
Cover that up while we're scaring. Okay, after a long night of queue line acting, I decided to do the queue line last night rather than staying in a scare spot, because I felt like making people laugh. After watching Alan Hops do his thing down at Phobius this year, I decided you know what, I want to just do comedy in the queue line. So I did that instead, and man, that was a lot of fun. Anyways, now today my goal is to get this simple PVC structure into an interesting pose on this based on a reference image I took of my son. Start bending pipe here, and then going to start sculpting the head for this girl. So the trick I found in working with these when you're starting to glue them up is, like, you want to get some you want to get the structure a little bit solid so that you can sort of decide on your pose. Like if the spine joint is moving around, it'll affect the position of the rest of the arms and stuff. So what I do is I try and glue up 1/2 of each degree of freedom. So right here I've glued, but not here, so I can still turn that arm. And I do that all over wherever I can, so that it starts getting solid and it's less likely to fall apart. And then you can finally lock in your pose, because this whole thing is about getting the right pose. Otherwise, you know, that's what sculpture is. And once you've got the form where you want it, then you glue up all the other halves and you lock it in place. Okay, so the other thing I've done here is, I'm happy with the arrangement. I take a major section off, like this leg, and what I do is draw a line between each joint so that I know the exact position that I had it in, and I glue it up and then stick it back in and align the lines. I've done that in all these different joints. Okay, so I've glued up pretty much everything except for 1 degree of freedom here in the shoulder, so I can turn this right arm, and then these 2 joints here that connect the spine to the pelvis area. Okay, so I finished a little bit of a sculpt. I just took a foam wig head, carved out the jowl area, and built back up with epoxy sculpt. Gonna put ears on it later, and I made these hands last night. I found this really slim PVC that was perfect, and I just traced my son's hand, figured out the sizes of each joint, of each finger joint, cut them to size, ran some flexible wire in there and hot glue, sandwiched between 2 pieces of cardboard, and I got 2 of those ready to go for my Gertie prep. Just covering up the unsculpted areas with latex and toilet paper. I glued on my ears from my ear mold I glued them on with hot glue, and then I sort of cover up the seam with cotton and latex, and then do toilet paper and latex around the rest of the exposed styrofoam that I didn't put epoxy sculpt on. This is supposed to be a girl, believe it or not, and figuring out how to do gender on corpses was sort of beyond my abilities as a sculptor. I just kind of hit up against my limitations on that one, but I think in context with the wig and the dress and everything, it's going to make sense. Plus the person's supposed to be very decayed, so I think gender is harder to pick out at that point anyways. But there's actual subtle differences between males and females, which are easier to draw if you're drawing, for me anyway. It's always been able to draw sort of cute, beautiful girls very easily, but drawing the distinction between sort of decrepit looking males and decrepit looking females is a bit harder. So at least for me as an artist, so sculpting it was even harder than drawing. But again, in context with the wig and everything like that, I think it'll do the job.
Happy Thanksgiving.
What's up, man?
Well, you know, just working on the haunt.
Looked good. This is my first time seeing it. I was up at the cottage this weekend and Justin was here working. So, what we got going on in here?
Well, this is our mine shaft. It's supposed to look like a mine shaft anyway. Suspense boards and some of these interesting 6-foot, you know, landscaping ties, I guess you can call them.
Got the irregular shapes to it all.
Yeah, that's mostly a mistake of cutting the wrong angles. So it kind of worked out, but it's another sort of claustrophobic space. It gets a little tight as you go around the corner and opens up when you come into this area, which is going to have the drop panel in it.
Nice.
Yeah. And a central location here, which is going to have more boards, but it's going to cut out here and there and have like a skeleton prop sitting in it, serve as a distraction and a bit of a light source for this area.
Is there a scare spot here?
Well, there's the drop panel.
Drop panel right there.
So they come around here. It's not really a scare, it's just a distraction kind of thing. They come around the corner, and then we'll have a better concealed drop panel right here.
decks represent.